Welcome to NFL Nexus, the place where we break down the biggest stories in the league. And folks, today we are diving headfirst into a high-stakes power play that could see one of the NFL's oldest, most historic franchises make a move that, frankly, feels almost unthinkable. We're talking billions of dollars, political chess matches, and a deadline that is coming up fast. This is so much more than a sports story. It's a massive business drama with an entire city's identity hanging right in the balance.
Okay, let's just get right to the heart of it. The Chicago Bears. The city of Chicago. It's a combo that feels as iconic as, deep dish pizza. For more than 100 years, the monsters of the Midway have been part of the very fabric of the Windy City. But what if I told you that this century-long marriage is teetering on the edge of a messy divorce? It sounds crazy, right? Well, a multi-billion-dollar stadium project has thrown everything into chaos. And believe me, the future of the Bears and their lifelong home is anything but a sure thing. This is a massive crossroads, and the decision they make is going to be felt for generations.
So what are the actual options on the table? Well, the choice is pretty stark. First, you've got the hometown option, Arlington Heights, Illinois. Now, this isn't just some random plot of land. The Bears went out and dropped a ton of money to buy the entire 326-acre former Arlington Park racetrack. They have this huge vision for a state-of-the-art stadium and entertainment district, the whole shebang. It's their vision on their land. But, and this is a big but, then you have the siren song coming from just across the border in Hammond, Indiana. And they aren't just sending a nice letter. They are rolling out the red carpet, dangling a prime piece of real estate on Wolf Lake, and promising a much smoother path to a new home. It's a classic dilemma, right? History and loyalty versus a fresh, easy start.
Now, don't get it twisted. This is not a simple choice between two pieces of property. No way. This has escalated into a high-stakes game of chicken between the Bears and the state of Illinois. And in this game, the team has made it crystal clear what it's going to take to keep them around. They have essentially laid down an ultimatum, a line in the sand. And as we're about to see, this entire multi-billion-dollar saga hinges on one single critical thing.
You'd think a deal this massive would be tangled up in dozens of complex issues, right? Incentives, demands, all that stuff. And yeah, some of that's there, but the real truth is this whole thing boils down to two simple words. Just two words, and those two words have the power to decide whether the Bears build their future in Illinois or pack their bags for Indiana. So what are they?
And there you have it. Straight from the team president, Kevin Warren. Tax certainty. It might not sound all that exciting, but for the Bears, trust me, it is everything. I mean, put yourself in their shoes for a second. You're about to write a check for $5 billion. The absolute last thing you want is for the local government to turn around in a few years and triple your property taxes, completely blowing up your financial model. That's why this isn't just a request, it's a non-negotiable, take it or leave it deal breaker. Okay, so what exactly is tax certainty? How does it actually work? It's not just about getting a good tax rate for a year or two. We're talking about creating a predictable, stable financial situation for the entire life of the project. We're talking 40 years, maybe more. And to do that, you need a very specific and kind of controversial legal tool. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what the Bears are really asking for here. This is where we get into the legislative weeds a little, but stick with me because this is the whole ballgame. The key is something called a pilot agreement. It stands for payment in lieu of taxes. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's like getting a fixed-rate mortgage on your property taxes instead of an adjustable-rate one where the payment can suddenly skyrocket. Right now, Illinois lawmakers are scrambling to pass a bill, House Bill 2789, that would let the Bears sign one of these pilot deals for up to 40 years. No surprises, no crazy hikes, just the predictability they need to pull the trigger on a $5 billion investment.
Now, while all this debate and deliberation was happening in Illinois, their neighbors to the east were making some serious moves. Indiana saw an opening. They saw Illinois hesitating, and they pounced. And their approach? Well, it was a masterclass in strategic politics. They didn't just send a postcard saying, hey, come on over. Oh, no. They basically built a political superhighway designed to lead the Bears right into their state. Just look at this. This is what being proactive looks like. Indiana didn't just promise tax certainty. They passed an actual law, Senate Bill 27, and created a brand new government body, the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority. This group's one and only job is to make this stadium happen. They have the power to buy up the land, they can issue bonds to help pay for it, they can basically cut through all the red tape that could bog down a project like this for years. It's a turnkey solution ready to go, while Illinois is still trying to figure out how to get the key in the ignition.
This timeline really tells the whole story, doesn't it? It just perfectly illustrates the huge gap between the two states. You see, Indiana crossed the finish line way back in February. Their bill is signed, sealed, and delivered. They are ready to talk turkey. Meanwhile, look at Illinois. In April, their bill had only cleared a single committee. And that date at the bottom, May 31st, that's when the Illinois legislative session ends. It's a hard deadline, and it is looming large. Illinois is in a race against time, and they started way, way behind.
But this race isn't just about what the politicians are up to. It's being driven by a whole other clock. The Bears have their own schedule for making this massive decision. And it's that timeline that's putting even more pressure on Illinois to get its act together, and fast. The team has made it very clear they're not going to sit around and wait forever, and their decision window is creating what you might call a perfect storm of urgency.
Late spring, early summer. That's the window the Bears have given everyone. Now look at that on a calendar, and then think back to that legislative deadline of May 31st. They line up almost perfectly, don't they? And that is not a coincidence. That is calculated pressure. For the lawmakers in Illinois, the clock is ticking, and it's ticking loudly. It means they don't have months, they have weeks to pass a complex, controversial bill and deliver that tax certainty Kevin Warren demanded. The pressure is just absolutely immense.
So what's really at stake here? Why all this drama? Well, this isn't just about bragging rights. We are talking about a massive financial earthquake that will create aftershocks for decades, impacting the team, both states, and the taxpayers. The numbers behind all this are just staggering. So let's crunch them and see just how big of a deal this really is.
$5 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. $5 billion with a B. This isn't just a plan for a building to play football in a few times a year. We're talking about a massive year-round entertainment complex. Picture it. Restaurants, hotels, shops, public plazas, all anchored by a world-class enclosed stadium. It's basically a mini-city. And for whichever community gets it, it's a huge economic powerhouse, thousands of jobs, and an engine for growth.
But for Illinois, there's a ghost from the past haunting this entire deal. A very, very expensive ghost. You remember that big renovation of Soldier Field back in 2003? Well, the taxpayers of Illinois are still paying for it. Right now, they are still on the hook for over $356 million in debt. And here's the really painful part, the political nightmare for officials. That debt doesn't just disappear if the Bears leave. So Illinois could be facing a future where they not only lose their iconic team, but their citizens are still stuck paying a giant bill for an empty stadium. Ouch. You know, beyond the whole tax thing, this is fundamentally about the Bears wanting to be the kings of their own castle. As you can see here, the difference is just night and day. Right now, they're just tenants in the NFL's smallest stadium. But a new, shiny venue would be all theirs, full ownership, and that means they keep all the money. Every dime from tickets, concessions, parking, luxury suites, and this is the big one. All the revenue from every other event they could host. Think major concerts, the Final Four, college football playoffs, maybe even a Super Bowl. The revenue potential is astronomical, and it's money they just can't get their hands on right now. And make no mistake, this is so much bigger than just the Bears. The way this all plays out is being watched very, very closely, and it could set a powerful new precedent for how teams and cities negotiate these deals all across the country. If Illinois gives in and creates this special tax deal, it becomes the blueprint for the next big corporation that wants a handout. But if Indiana actually succeeds in poaching the Bears, well, you can bet other states will be copying their legislative playbook. This could fundamentally shift the balance of power in pro sports, giving teams even more leverage over the cities they call home.
So who's going to win this high-stakes game of chicken? Is Illinois going to get its act together in time to keep its team, or will the Bears be waving goodbye to the Windy City and heading east? We're going to find out very, very soon. It's a fascinating look at leverage, politics, and the business of sports. What do you think is going to happen? Where will the Bears be playing football in 2030? Drop your prediction in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, do me a favor and hit that like button. And make sure you subscribe to NFL Nexus for more breakdowns of the league's biggest stories. And one last thing before you go. If you're looking for something fun for the football fans in your life, we've got some awesome coloring books for fans of all ages, kids, grandkids, even adults. Check out the link in the description or just scan the QR code on your screen to grab one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.